And in the last round of the competition, they of course knocked out Dorking, who are a National League club and a decent one too as well between them. So they have some early pedigree as they stretch off and are put through their final paces. If it's about mentality and having a granite-like mentality for Barnsley, one might imagine for Horsham it's about managing any nerves.
Well, it is, I think it's going to be very exciting for them, and reaching this round, and like you said before, they have been here before, but not this group of players. So it'll be a first for them, it'll be little nervy times until that first whistle goes. But listen, I think they've got nothing to lose, like we said before, they can get 120% and just see what happens at the end of it. Barnsley, again, they've got everything to lose, so it's finally balanced before we kick off, but like I said before, it's really down to Barnsley to set the tone of the game.
When you went to watch Horsham in the times that you did, how much were you aware of the Lardy army?
I wasn't aware of them at all.
Oh, right, okay.
No.
Well, you've not lived.
No.
So the Lardy army then are a band of brothers and sisters that follow Horsham the length and breadth of whichever division they are in. If you look to your left-hand side now, Danny, you can see sort of a group of 20 or 30 who've got yellow jackets on and green, I'm going to say t-shirts. They're far enough away I can't actually make out the green element to it. Their diet is not brilliant, as Lardy suggests, and they like a beer or two and a good pie on the road, and where they can, they send lard to the opposing football club as a bit of a gag. And one of the key killer stories is that they sent some lard to the Hereford chairman. Now, unbeknownst to them, that the Hereford chairman was quite a big guy.
Oh.
He didn't take too well to it, but everybody else sees it as the joke that it is. So I'm assuming the Barnsley hierarchy have been sent some lard in the build-up to this game. Right then, under the floodlights at Oakwell on this chilly night. You can tell it's getting round to FA Cup time because things are just that little bit colder. Referee Ben Toner checks his watch as we can hear the Horsham fans in full voice to our left-hand side. So it will be Barnsley who get this FA Cup first round tie off and underway, playing as we look from right to left, defending the Pontefract Road end. So Barnsley have got Killip in goal. He's just stood outside of his 18-yard box at the moment. Jordan Williams captains the side at the right of a back three that also includes Mile de Javigny and Jamie McCart, a winner of the Scottish FA Cup with St Johnson, a midfield four of Corey O'Keefe, Herbie Kane, Callum Stiles and Owen Dodgson. We think for the time being at least that Fabio Giallo is going to play in some kind of number 10 role with a front two of Max Waters and John McAtee, but we'll keep you posted on all of that. On the bench for the Reds, Flavel, the young goalkeeper, Cadden Benson, Cotter McCarthy, Phillips, Shepherd Cole, and most significantly of all, after all of his problems, Luca Connell. The ball is cleared away by Horsham. I can tell you that, that the feeling is they're packing midfield. So Lewis Carey, I can definitely tell you, is in goal. Back four, Bobby Price, Jack Strange, Danny Barker and Harvey Sparks, who works for HMRC during the week, so you can think what you like about that. In midfield, the midfield comprises of Charlie Hester Cook, Jack Brevio, his nickname is unimaginatively Briv, James Hammond and Lee Harding, who is one of those players who's a defender and a midfielder that can play anywhere, and a front two of Akaji, Daniel Akaji, who's got 7 goals this season, and Shamir Fenelon, who's only got a couple but most significantly scored in the last round of the competition. Well, the fact that Horsham have got a free kick tight to the touchline east stand side is being vociferously cheered by the supporters to our left. Can Barnsley keep the non-leaguers at arm's length? The referee blows his whistle. In comes said free kick, headed away from the edge of the penalty area. Not the best free kick. Herbie Kane is not the tallest, and he was able to clear comfortably away from the edge of the penalty area. And as the ball goes back to Lewis Carey, shooting out after him with great pace is McAtee, and he almost caught the keeper there. Well, he did catch the keeper, but it goes well away from goal and out of play for a throw-in on the near side. And Well, an early warning shot from Barnsley, Danny Wilson.
Well, it was. I mean, McAtee did very, very well, though, in fairness. He chased the back pass down onto Carey, the goalkeeper. But I just think, the pace of the game, the pace of the Barnsley players may have taken him by surprise somewhat, and, he travels over the ground very quickly, does McAtee, and he's very unlucky, really, but shape of things to come. You've got to press the goalkeeper, he might just make a mistake for you.
And I was describing to my media colleague in the press benches who follows Horsham that of the two, Max Waters is the faster one a couple of minutes ago, so goodness only knows what he's thinking right now, having seen that. So you are listening to Football Heaven. It is BBC Radio Sheffield. We're live at Oakwell for this FA Cup first round tie, the beginning of a wonderful weekend of football. Barnsley against Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship tomorrow, of course. We'll keep you fully up to date on how Donny get on against Accrington, and then Sunday lunchtime, midday, we're on air. Chesterfield against Portsmouth. Can the Spyrites cause what would be an upset, despite the fact that they are utterly superb at the start of this season in knocking out Portsmouth? Mind you, they too are doing very well at the right end of League One, aren't they? So Barnsley controlling possession, as you might imagine. They reached round 3 last year, the Reds, knocking out Bolton and Crewe along the way to knocking out next weekend's opponents, Derby County, as Jallow gets his second touch of the ball. A skirting run from him, east stand side. The cross goes into the penalty area, hit low in the direction of Max Waters, but as he went for it, the keeper slipped out low and Lewis Carey grabbed the ball, Danny Wilson.
Yeah, I don't think it's taken us by surprise, really, how the game started. The possession is generally with Barnsley. They're falling back into a 4-5-1, if you like, and just make it very difficult for the midfield players to have any space. And I think it's just going to carry on like this. I don't think they particularly wanted to get the ball at the back. They're trying it, but I don't think they'll get too much joy out of it. And then again, this is what you get. They go to the back, they pass it, and then they fire it long, and there's nobody there. So it's going to be very difficult from Horsham's point of view to keep hold of the ball for periods. But they still got to, from Barnsley's point of view, they've got to on the toes for them long balls that do come now and again.
Well, Jamie McCart got to stretch his legs towards the halfway line, but the pass forward is intercepted. Barnsley controlling the ball. No goals or any major drama in the opening 5 minutes of this FA Cup contest. Barnsley themselves go a little longer in search of Max Waters, but he just sees the ball drift over his right shoulder and through towards Lewis Carey. Now, Max Waters does have direct experience of playing against Horsham. He played for Ashford against Horsham in the early part of his career, and was remembered for said performances by the club media in their build-up to this game, then, which currently is locked at 0-0, and the ball is at the back. Mile de Javigny playing in the FA Cup, the Frenchman, for the first time. Now Owen Dodgson, the Burnley loanee, wide on the near side. Lovely diagonal ball into the penalty area. There was McAtee to retrieve possession away from 2 in amber and green. Then Dodgson tries to take on 2, one of whom is Bobby Price, but the former Carshalton veteran nudges the ball out of play for a throw-in on the near side. In fact, the taking of said throw-in won't be taken quickly, and Barnsley will just take their time here, Danny Wilson, in front of the Horsham fans who are booing the fact that actually it's not a throw-in, it's a corner. Dodgson pings it into the penalty area. Styles tried a spectacular overhead kick. He caught it. Behind it went. Goal kick. Definitely.
Yeah, it was a good little move to start off with, in fairness. I think that's what we were talking about before when we talked about young Jallow. He got the ball on the halfway line, half turn, got away from his defender, played a fantastic ball out wide, and that's where that move started from. So you can see the little touches that young Jallow has got there, and like I say, you can see little things now why he's so highly rated.
As a formation check for Barnsley fans listening in, it's a bit more 3-2-1, isn't it, the way it goes? He's a little to the right, and Waters spearheads the attackers. Williams is in a bit of bother here on the edge of the penalty area because the pacey Adjaki is after him in the D. But Barnsley are able to play their way out of trouble. Back it goes to Ben Killip, and it's leathered high in the air before it drops out east stand side of the ground. And I have to say, fair play to those Horsham supporters. They're the the ones that are making the noise.
They're getting right behind him, aren't they?
They are.
They're doing fantastic. You know, they've settled down fairly quickly in fairly Horsham. You know, although they've not had as much possession as Barnsley's had, they don't look fazed by it whatsoever.
No,
you know, they seem very, very comfortable, quite relaxed about, you know, the position when they take up. They've been getting men forward though. When they play the long ball, you know, that goes up to the lone striker, if you like, the Fenelon. They've been getting bodies around him, and they were quite unlucky just in that last phase of play though, that the play just fizzled out a bit. So something they've got to be aware of, Barnsley.
Well, they do come into this game having played their last 4 matches all away from home, but in various competitions. The draw to various comps, not least the FA Trophy, hasn't been kind to those that want to watch them at home, as Barnsley are able to sidle their way forward. Corey O'Keefe slalom past one, blocked off by the second, and the ball is skied into the stand on the far side. They did beat Lark Hall in the FA Trophy last weekend. Jack Strange with 2 goals in that one. He's battling for the ball at the moment, but then he's given it away. Here's McAtee shooting from the D on the edge of the box after it was brusquely won back there by Callum Stiles. McAtee kind of dug that shot out, didn't he, Danny Wilson? And it was a scoop and a bit of a slash at the same time.
He was a bit rushed, in fairness, but you have to, you know, praise the defenders from Horsham. There, about 5 players rushed onto him. You know, as soon as he got the ball and tried to close his shot down, and he had to snatch at it, and it went high and wide.
So it is goalless, football heaven. BBC Radio Sheffield. We're into the 10th minute of the match. Horsham playing forward then, as it's driven long into the feet of the number 14, Charlie Hester Cook. Former Dorking player, so he will have had a good time in the last round of the competition. He barrelled after that, legs working really hard, but ultimately the ball has gone behind for a goal kick. Their last home game, incidentally, for those that travel, not least the Lardy Army, was that cup tie against Dorking, which they won by 2 goals to 0. Adjakai scored in the 39th minute, and looking at the video printer on the club website, it must have been pretty rapid, because the second goal was scored in the 39th minute as well. So let's just say 2 in a couple of minutes, and from that Dorking were done. Here the ball is won back in the middle of the park by Hester Cook once again. Then they look to spread the ball wide, and in the end it was a little too high and wide to the far side of the touchline, and ultimately Adjakai won't get there. Barnsley will get it back. So Neil Collins then, I would imagine, is reasonably content, arms folded on the edge of his technical area, watching on.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's, you know, the start of the game is perhaps what he expected. Just looking from where we're set up here, you know, they were looking at McCart, the left-sided centre-back for Barnes. It looks like he's got all the space in front of him. And he keeps going back inside with the ball. You know, if he's going to go and hurt the defenders, he's got to go and try and commit 1 or 2 of them, and he's got lots of space to run into down that side. The wingers, you know, are tucking really tight along their own fullbacks, allowing Barnes' wide men to get forward. So he's got loads of space to go and play in. Let's hope he can manipulate it a bit more. So
football heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. Danny Wilson, manager who led Barnsley to promotion to the Premier League, who is our expert summariser this evening. Barnsley have a corner, far touchline, which Owen Dodgson goes across to take it.
I looked at the lineup when they were coming, shaking hands, and they're a far bigger side, Barnsley. So these situations might just help them to penetrate them.
Dodgson swings in the corner, high into the air it goes, glancing header away by Price at the corner of the 6-yard box. This time Kane swings it back into the middle, half volleyed away from the penalty spot. Horsham are able to clear their lines, and it remains 0-0 on football heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. So speaking of cup near misses, Danny Wilson, Bromsgrove, how much did you fear bricks were going to be lobbed onto the pitch before Barnsley won 2-0?
They were lobbed onto the pitch, mostly the back of my head.
Not verbal ones, you mean concrete ones?
Yeah, concrete ones, yeah.
So that was 1994, wasn't it?
It was, yes. Yeah,
bricks
was, yeah.
On the pitch. But to your credit, you did oversee a 3-0 win against Chester. So Jennings spent part of his career with Munich, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Was that after or before?
That was before.
That was before.
Yeah, that was before. Yeah, he went over to Bayern. Yeah.
See, Kane's not the first Englishman as McAtee brings the ball under control, gets it back a little fortuitously and stings the palms of goalkeeper Lewis Carey, drilling the shot on the angle from the right-hand side. It was going up and up, and then it was tipped on the way by the palms of the goalkeeper. Barnsley get a corner.
The angle that he shoots at there, he's got to go across the keeper. He's hit the near post where the keeper's got most of it covered. I think Max Watters will have been very unhappy really, because he was open there. I thought he was going to square the ball to him, but he decided to take the shot on.
Dodson, in goes the corner. De Javigny, corner of the penalty area, got a flicked header to it to no danger. Now it is, and now Barnsley do take the lead, and it is a header crashed home by John McAtee, powering onto the ball. The goalkeeper had absolutely no chance, and Barnsley, against the minnows from the 7th tier, have that priceless early lead. It's Barnsley 1, Horsham 0.
What a fantastic ball from the left-sided centre-back there, from Jamie McCourt. Absolutely fantastic, bending, dipping, all sorts of. The keeper couldn't come off his line, he couldn't come and collect it. The defenders, he's in that little corridor that they can't defend, and like you say, just because of thunders it in the ball in the back of the net, the goalkeeper's got no chance. Wonderful ball.
So, football heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. We are back and underway. Barnsley get what they crave, and that early goal, hopefully, from a Reds perspective, will be the first of many.
Well, you'd look at it. I think that's just exactly what Barnsley would have wanted. Neil would have liked an early goal. Not for anything other than just to settle him down. Basically. And it's the last thing that Horsham wanted, isn't it? Now they've got a decision to make. Do they come out and they try and get a goal themselves and leave them wide open? If that's the case, it could be hatful.
So football heaven then, as Barnsley have it. Strangely, as the goal went in, the Horsham fans were doing some celebrating as well, as the ball is brought under control there by Jallow on the corner of the penalty area, partially cleared away. Callum Stiles rises to win the header. Here is Stiles once again, gets it, feeds it forward. It's intercepted by Bobby Price. And it will be cleared away. Price, 10 years a Carshalton player, something of a stalwart, part of the summer recruitment plans with Horsham. But Barnsley come again. Watters lets the ball drift towards him. Jack Strange went to meet the ball, and it's cleared away by the defender who started his career with Queen's Park Rangers, but now Barnsley have it back. McCart then, head bandaged on the left-hand side of the back three, into Callum Stiles, inches short of the halfway line, and now Dodson down the line, looking there for the runner McAtee, clearing away Bobby Price from the right-hand side of their defence, and McCart takes the throw, and just in front of his gaffer, Neil Collins. Part of Sheffield United's run to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, which ultimately ended in defeat to Hull City by 5-3, as McCart stutters onto the ball, playing the ball into the feet of McAtee, who looked to turn 180, but he did, but the ball didn't quite go with him, and it's cleared up towards halfway. Here is Daniel Ajakai, his 19th appearance of the season, and now a bit of space for Hester Cook to work with. A barrel-chested central midfielder up to the corner of the penalty area. Here is the number 14 for the visitors, Shamir Fenelon. And now Barnsley on the counter-attack with Fabio Jallow. First start for the Reds, laying it off from two in yellow, and then Stiles, he shoots. Then Jallow's battling for it on the edge of the penalty area. Headed away, only as far as Kane. Kane brings it under control. The ball is swept to the far side. A little cutting run from O'Keefe. The ball is tossed into the penalty area too high. No one anywhere near it. Behind it goes for a goal kick, but more good pressure from Barnsley.
Well, it was, and I think we're going to see this a lot more often. They committed a few bodies forward there, did Horsham, and then when the move broke down, they broke away very, very quickly on a counter-attack. Barnsley, facing two defenders, that was all. They got back fairly quickly, but in fairness, I think they could have done a lot better with the final ball. But I'm just saying, what I'm trying to say really is that they have to be careful, Horsham, because they could be at the end of 2 or 3, 4 breakaways quite easily.
Yeah. Well, here is Kane. whose first goals for Doncaster Rovers were in a cup tie at Chorley. The gap between the two sides in the league ladder was a little shorter, but Doncaster Rovers got there in the end via a replay, as here is Hester Cook, former Marlow man, as the ball is brought under control by Ajakai. He's a very busy, sprightly player. He's causing all sorts of problems for De Vigny, and in the end the pair have a coming together just near the dead ball line, and the referee and the match officials have found in favour of the Frenchman. But well, if nothing else, the number 10 out there is a danger because of his movement.
Yeah, well, he is, yeah. And a couple of occasions there, he's put the defenders under real pressure. De Vigny was a bit very, very lucky there, actually. I thought he was a corner against off him, where he took too much time on the ball and was pressed by Horsham. But you know, these little things, they're few and far between, but they've still got to do them nice and cleanly. You've got to make sure that they are concentrating and they are on the ball nice and quickly, nice and sharply, and getting rid of it. Otherwise, he'll be pressed.
So it is 1-0 to the Reds as O'Keefe takes a touch, bends in the cross into the penalty area. Glancing header from Waters. Oh, he rose as the ball dipped towards him. It just got a thick edge off the top of his head, and it went across the face of Lewis Carey's goal, and it went behind for a goal kick. Yeah,
it was unlucky, really. I think obviously he wanted to put a bit more on the ball, but he was getting into the right areas at the right time, though. Waters is in a good position again to get at the end of the cross, got across the front of the defenders, and unlucky really with the glancing header.
Well, he'll want to add to his tally. He scored at Cambridge recently, scored prior to that at Cheltenham, not scored at Oakwell yet this season, as Horsham then 7th in the Isthmian League Premier Division, cut across halfway. They play in amber and green, and it's driven long. There's Ajakai scampering after the ball, as we've seen him do on quite a few occasions, but Jordan Williams had it covered, and it bobbles behind the Pontefract Road end, where there are a couple of stewards sat with their feet over the chairs in front, watching on. Most of the fans, in fact all of the fans, barring one or two that are directly beneath us here, are East Stand side here at Oakwell. But Barnsley are leading by a 1-0, and coming out from the back with it is De Vigny into Jallow, buffeted as he gets the ball away into the feet of O'Keefe, but Barnsley, as Danny has described, Danny Wilson, former Reds manager, are sweeping the ball around. It's just really a case of whether they can make all of that possession count and into goals. Dodge turning well, closed down hurriedly by 2 from Horsham. Now Styles blocked off there by Hester Cook. Back towards halfway, and De Vigny, and Barnsley will come again through Kane in the white boots into the feet of Styles. Styles, the Hungary international, wide to McCart, into Kane again, looking left and right, but there's plenty of bodies in the way from Horsham, who are stoically trying to keep the scoreline at 1-0 for the time being, as McAtee rolls it forward into the feet of Waters. Heavy first touch, he's driven away from the edge of the penalty area by Hester Cook. Now potential for a counter-attack, but as that skied ball, bit of a Hail Mary towards Ajakai, sailed forward, it sailed away from him. Barnsley get a throw-in.
I think it's he's obviously the let out. He's the danger man. Is Ajakai. You know, every time they get the ball in at the back or in midfield, they're looking for him over the top. He's obviously got good pace. But John Williams has done very, very well at the moment. He's matches for pace, but he's here again.
And here he is, Ajakai, nicking the ball back from Barnsley into the penalty area. Shooting chance and an equalising goal from Shamir Fenelon, who prods the ball past a diving Lewis Carey. It veered beautifully into the top corner, and Neil Collins, the Barnsley manager, is furious as the Horsham fans and the Lardy army celebrate joyously to our left-hand side. Barnsley have been pegged back, 21 gone, it's 1-1.
Well. I think it's what we said, you know, the Ajakai, he's the boy there, he's the danger boy. Play one ball, goes over the top, he gets in the back of the Barnsley defence, and actually he gets his head up really, really well. I thought he was going to try and bend the ball with his right foot, you know, to the far corner, but with the outside of his right foot, he just laid a lovely little pass on, and the Fenelon was there, and he put into with a good finish as well, I have to say, outside of his foot, outside of his right foot, into the top corner. 1-1.
Well, he's got some pedigree, Shamir Fenelon. Started his career at Brighton, made a couple of senior appearances for them. I assume at championship level, given his age of 26. Then went on to play for Crawley for an awful long time, 100 appearances or so for them. Represented the Republic of Ireland at under 21 level and has made 500 or 600 people dressed in yellow. Very happy indeed. So it's on Barnsley now to respond.
Well, it is, you know, and fair credit to them as well. Like I said before, they've been committing men forward, even though, you know, they've not been keeping hold of the ball particularly well. But that 1 or 2 passes, they've tried to be finding, you know, trying to find the strikers either into feet or over the back of the defenders at Barnsley, and it's paid off. I have to say, you know, that's a real shot in the arm for the Horsham team. Now they'll believe a lot more. And believe he gets something out of the game. It's a good time to score for them.
Well, it is very much a moment of magic in the FA Cup as Waters gets it, goes through the Horsham line. He fires in the shot, but it's blocked at point blank range by Jack Strange, who keeps Barnsley at arm's length. Now Kane 25 yards out and encroaching on the edge of the penalty area, just tries to prod it forward, lost it. Then his challenge was heavy in the middle of the park, so it's 1-1. Callum Stiles, 30 yards out, looks to his left, square onto goal, and Dodgson drives on, takes on his marker Lee Harding. Back it comes to McCart, who joins the attack, and as he stepped onto the ball, he's sent flying by Charlie Hester-Cook, so it will be a free kick to the Reds. And well, if it's given Horsham a shot in the arm, it's given Barnsley perhaps a little bit of a kick to move from first gear to second.
Well, it has, yeah. I mean, there's a booking there, you know, for number 4 for the tackle there, which is rightly so. And only seconds before Hester-Cook got booked, there was another heavy challenge as well from Bobby Price on one of the Barnsley players. So, you know, obviously there's a lot of pride to play for here in Horsham's terms. You know, they're not going to let him be walked all over by Barnsley. You know, they're really determined. They've been given like a big shot in the arm, like we said before. So it's now Barnsley. It's up to Barnsley to respond to that.
Dodge takes a couple of paces back from that free kick to the ball's right-hand side. Herbie Kane plotting potentially the in-swinger on his right boot to the ball's left. So 1-1 then. In the 25th minute of the match, Dodgson bends it in, and Stiles, volley from 8 yards out, rattles the woodwork.
Unlucky. Straight off the training ground. I mean, everybody's expecting the big boys to be challenging for that, and Stiles gets in at the near post, opens himself up and just side foots the ball, but unfortunately hits the bar and goes over the top. But well worked free kick, unlucky.
So football heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. 14 caps now for Hungary. Scored a hugely important FA Cup goal in the reign of Valerian Ismail. They beat Norwich and then went on that cracking run that ultimately saw Barnsley end up in the Championship playoffs, as here Horsham win it back, and then Fenelon, a tall, lean striker who curled in the equaliser, making a nuisance of himself. And now in the middle of the park, it's Barker wide to the far side. Coming forward from the back, it's Harvey Sparks, but he's dispossessed. But for how much longer? He's claiming that his shirt was pulled, but ultimately the ball went out of play for a throw-in, and it will be a throw-in which Barnsley want to get a move on and take. Well, all sorts of scripts, I dare say, were written by Barnsley supporters, but after they took the lead, not entirely sure they'd be expecting an equaliser, as Dodgson dummies over the ball. Lee Harding, the midfielder, had closed him down. Very versatile, plays on the left or the right. He's on the right at the moment, trying to provide some kind of protection, with Dodgson making his manoeuvres forward. Now Stiles to the left of the centre circle, into the feet of Jallow. Quick first time passing from the Reds as Kane brings in Williams. Williams now to Herbie Kane, 10 yards in front of the centre circle. Here an opportunity for Waters. He pushes it forward, but Stiles is shackled, and now the visitors look to counter-attack again. The last time they counter-attacked, they scored, as Fenelon, who got that goal, drives on past Jordan Williams. Williams sticks to his task. In the end, one final nudge is enough to take the striker off the ball, and Barnsley get it back, playing from right to left. Williams is allowed to counter-attack here, given the freedom of the park as he cuts the dash forward. The ball up to the corner of the penalty area is picked up by Dodgson, then McAtee on the slide as he made contact with the shot. easily picked off by the Horsham defence, and it's cleared away by the visitors. Danny Wilson.
A bit disappointing there, really, from McAtee there. I don't think he realised, that he had a bit of time, but he sort of rushed his shot, and I don't think he got in his mind exactly what he wanted to do with the ball. He sort of was going to thrash it, and then he started to open himself up a bit and tried to side-foot it, and did neither.
Well, Barnsley are improving at home. They've not lost here since losing to Blackpool on the 30th of September, as De Gevigné looks to his right from the centre circle. Wide it goes to O'Keefe. De Gevigné had gone barrelling forward. Side foots the ball in. Jello! Oh, took aim. 16 yards out, but Lewis Carey, pouncing to his right-hand side, claws the ball away.
Gevigné did absolutely brilliant there. He carried on his run, played the ball into midfield, carried on his run, and ended up with it on the right wing. Picked out Fabio absolutely brilliantly, and side foot opened himself up, tried to put it to the side of the keeper, who pulled off a very good save. Good move.
Well, Lewis Carey, a former Bristol City youngster, summer signing, done the rounds in the non-league world, Bromley, Tunbridge Angels, etc. Has pulled off a flying save there, all in purple. So it remains Barnsley 1, Horsham 1 in the first round of this FA Cup tie. Styles now with the floppy hairdo, clips it left-footed to the near side, and Dodson, he controls it. The Burnley loanee's seen an awful lot of the ball in the opening 29 minutes of the match. Back to De Gevigné, pushed on through the centre circle to Jordan Williams, and a lovely skip of the feet from the Portuguese Jello. He lays it back into a little more open water, where Horsham pick up the ball and start a counter-attack of their own here with Hester Cook. He rolls it forward, but in the end, despite the attentions that Bobby Price will give to the situation, Barnsley are always in control. Jello got his first hefty whack in senior men's football, and he's hobbling back to his feet there over on the far side, the young Portuguese, but he's going to be okay. He'll walk it off.
Yep. Welcome to the FA Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, part of my questioning with Neil Collins yesterday was, well, if you're going to play some of the kids, this will be a good test. All sorts of different shapes and sizes out there, meaty challengers.
Yep.
People who do normal jobs, as it were, during the day. And young kids out of plush academies in Portugal are going to have to get used to that type of thing.
Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's a forming of the character, of playing in games like this and against older and more experienced pros.
But as it is, Jello is the only, in a very young team, of course. But Jello at 17, the Lisboan, is the only one who can be described as a first-team irregular, although increasingly less so over the course of the past season or so. Neil Collins giving him his start today. Incidentally, if Horsham win, and from our perspective, clearly we hope they don't, it would be the second time they'd reach the second round proper in 07-08. While Barnsley were having their heroics against Liverpool and Chelsea, etc. Horsham beat Maidenhead 4-1. They went on to reach round 2 proper and took Swansea City to a replay, 1-1 in the first leg before a 6-2 defeat in the replay.
They were winning 2-1 in that game as well.
Were they?
And ended up getting beat 6, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, good research, Danny Wilson. So here it's won back by Adjakai, instrumental in the equalising goal as the outlet down the far side. Even more instrumental, Fenelon, who's looking to return the compliment. Adjakai slips it past the keeper as Killip came rushing out, but De Gevigné realised danger was awry, went in behind the goalkeeper and saved the ball from going in.
Adjakai again, he's a troublemaker from Barnes' point of view, isn't he? And I think that he was very unlucky there that he had no support. I think he just got in the back of the defenders again and left them all for dead, and his own teammates couldn't stay with him. He ended up squaring the ball off, but nobody there. Another big threat from Horsham there again.
Well, Neil Collins stands with his hands deep rooted in his pockets. The smile that was there earlier looks a little more of a grimace with the scoreline at Barnsley 1, Horsham 1. Ball number 17 in the first round draw. Which of these two sides will make it through to the draw for the second, which will be after Chesterfield against Portsmouth on Sunday lunchtime. Commentary of that with us. Bristol City against Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow. Tuesday, Rotherham against Ipswich next Saturday. Derby County against Barnsley. Also looking at further ahead, the new sound of breakfast on BBC Radio Sheffield. Ellie Colton will take the hot seat from Monday, and Toby Foster will switch to afternoon. So rather than the 6-2 or the 6 a.m. start, Toby's going 2 well 6 in the afternoon. So tune in to all of that. We'll keep you posted on everything that's going on. We're staying at 6 o'clock. 0800 111 4949 for you to have your say on the weekend's events. Here, Lewis Carey, 19th appearance of the season. It's driven long. Headed forward there by McCart and picked up by Styles. Now McAtee. McAtee, back it goes to McCart. McCart looks up. Square ball to McAtee. Forward into Owen Dodson, who's tied to the touchline. A little shimmy of the feet from him into Styles. Barnsley controlling the ball somewhat casually, but it's De Javigny who puts a bit more zip in his pass to the far side. Barnsley enjoying possession with everybody in yellow and green behind the ball, but as we've seen, be wary of that counter-attack as Jallow uses the magic feet to beat two before swinging the ball from right to left. Dodgson's first touch is a little heavier, his second is to upend Hester Cook, and he's going to be in bother with the match officials here.
Yeah, he just took out of a touch, didn't he? The ball got away from him, and Hester Cook came in, chipped the ball away from him, and he just followed through with a high tackle. Fully deserved, really, on the book, and a bit of frustration more than anything from his point of view.
They've used him quite a lot, haven't they, in this first half, Owen Dodson. His end product hasn't always been there.
Well, sadly, no, it's not. And I think there's times, again, I think I spoke to you early on, I said about the centre-backs, particularly McCourt on this left-hand side. He has got acres of space, and he's got to go and force 2v1 situations, because there's nobody keeping him in. The strikers are all falling back into defensive areas, and there's a lot of space for him to go and explore. And if he can go in there and he can start, committing 1 or 2 players for 2v1s, they've got a good chance down this side.
Well, Kane at the moment is drifting forward for Barnsley under the floodlights, but Barnsley kind of in the spotlight with 10 minutes to go to half-time. De Javigny having to crunch onto the tackle with Adjakai making more of a nuisance of himself. Another sloppy pass from the Reds, but Williams canters forward and away from trouble. Now McAtee into Jallow. Lovely little flick to Styles, poking it on Waters. Oh, Waters is saved. Carey again, as Jallow was following up. In the end, it got confused, but Carey flops on the ball and makes the save. Yeah,
it was a good save again from Waters there, and I think the follow-up from Jallow in that respect there, he just popped back into the goalkeeper's hands. He's claiming that he was pushed in the back, but the referee wasn't having any of that. But yeah, good move again. He was unlucky. Good save again from the goalkeeper.
When I looked at his biog, was Carey there when you were at Bristol as a kid?
There was a Lewis Carey there, but it was an outfield player.
An outfield player,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So not for the first time today I've been confused. I thought the club photographer was their chairman, so and I asked him how they pronounce the name of their number 10, so he's doing all right so far. You are listening to Football Heaven. It is BBC Radio Sheffield. We are live at Oakwell. I keep saying it's a mild night, but I've got 5 layers on, so it should be, as McCart comes forward from the left of centre half. Wide it goes to Dodson. Dodson infield to Styles. Tried the little deft flick into Waters. Didn't quite come off. Plenty back for the visitors, who got their equalising goal through Shamir Fenelon, who signed from Billericay. I would urge you via the BBC website to watch the goal. I appreciate Reds fans, you will perhaps want to watch it a little bit more if Barnsley go on and win handsomely, but as equalisers go, it was a pretty smart goal, and Barnsley are still trying to retake the lead here. Here is Fenelon again. Barnsley cautious and wary of the counter-attack as Hester Cook shrugs off the attentions of Callum Styles. I'm kind of slightly minded to say that their number 4, Charlie Hester Cook, is a much more in shape version of the big kid in the playground you can't get the ball off. He's kind of made like that, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
not
very,
fat.
very
I don't mean he's fat in any way, but as the ball is played through, Ajakai, referee points to the spot, and it is a penalty. Barnsley, the masters of their own downfall, confused at the back, hassled and harried by Daniel Ajakai. Again, they're not learning their lessons. He was upended, and the referee couldn't fail to point to the spot.
Great little ball in behind again, as we were talking there. And again, it's as we said to us before, Ajakai again, being the man that's on the shoulders of the defenders, gets a really deft touch away from the defender, and I think it was Williams who brought him down. But again, shouldn't go to ground there. Stay on your feet. There's no need to tackle him. Ends up with a penalty.
Well, Barnsley were hoping for a confident, resounding victory. As it is, they're on the precipice of going 2-1 down to the non-leaguers as the penalty is taken beautifully by James Hammond. It's thumped in past Ben Killip at the Pontefract Road end, and it's the Minnows, 98 places beneath Barnsley in the league ladder, who celebrate again. 39th minute of the match. Barnsley 1, Horsham 2.
Two goalkeepers wouldn't have said that one, I don't think, Andy. Great penalty, a lot of power, right in the roof of the net. It gives Killip no chance. But again, it's just, again, from Barnes' perspective, again, it's a lack of concentration again, and a lack of understanding where the threat's coming from. You know, he's always looking to get in the back of the defenders, his Ajakai, and I think, you know, they've got to be watching him coming across people again. They just seem to, you know, just playing in their own little areas and not understanding what's around them, and he has caused them two major problems there, and they scored 2 goals with it.
So Daniel Ajakai, very much the hero of the day so far, contributed heavily to both goals for Horsham, setting up Shamir Fenelon for the equalising goal, and his driving run led to being challenged, which led to a penalty, which allowed James Hammond to make it 2-1, his 4th goal of the season. And it's Horsham of the Isthmian Premier League division who lead here at Oakwell by 2-1. Barnsley need to buck their ideas up. They're having an awful lot of possession. They've created some chances, but some of that possession, as I make the point, is sloppy, and the Frenchman de Chevigny rolled it wide to the right. Williams isn't concentrating. It bobbled off his boot and goes out of play for a throw-in. Symptomatic of some, but not all, of what Barnsley have done so far today.
They've rattled them, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, you have to give credit to Horsham. You know, they've been a goal down, and they've not let them get their heads down. They've come back into the game. You know, they've not let Barnsley onto their goal very often. They've had a lot of possession, but they've kept them at bay for most of it.
Jallo jinking, shooting from the corner of the penalty area. This time it goes into the midriff of Jack Brevio, and the counter-attack is on again. Ajakai's there. Williams, though, this time is with him stride for stride, but they've made a good 50 yards up the pitch in quick-fire time. Now Shamir Fenelon back to the east-stand side of the ground. James Hammond retreats, and in doing so, so too do Horsham. But they are frightening Barnsley, and Ajakai is frightening Barnsley.
He is, and I think Neil Collins will be telling him that at half-time. I think he'll have a lot of words to say about his 3 central defenders in particular. There's getting no cover on each other, and all they're doing, they're getting in a leg race with him. And on 2 or 3 occasions, he's been the one that's won the race as Ajakai. So, you know, Neil won't be too happy with that, because that is really the biggest threat they've got, and they're not dealing with it.
So it is football heaven. It's BBC Radio Sheffield. Worrying start for the Reds then on this FA Cup first round night at Oakwell. Modest crowd as you usually get in these circumstances, but a boisterous away following as Kane steps onto the ball, right-footed. Herbie Kane pushes it into the centre circle, and now de Chevigny helped on wide to Williams, who captains the side today. Williams gets it back, stands on the ball a little uncomfortably as McCart to Kane. You can throw a blanket over the edge of Horsham's penalty area and you'll get all the players underneath it. Now Barnsley are forced back towards the centre circle again. De Chevigny, the centre half from Fouché-Rolls in central France, pushed it forward into Jallo. Jallo, though, is tackled by Ajakai. 2 players going at it there, and the youngster loses out, but Barnsley are able to restart their attack again. Dodson is on the near side, dodging and weaving his way past Lee Harding. The cross goes in, beat the first man but not the second in Hester Cook, and out of play it goes for a throw-in. So yeah, Barnsley continuing the theme of having a lot of possession without the killer part of penetration. They've got through a couple of times. Max Waters might have scored. Jallow felt he was fouled as he had a shot towards goal. There was another opportunity that was well saved for McAtee.
The problem I think Barnsley are having at this moment in time, particularly when the ball's going into the midfield players and then they're looking to play forward, is everything's going into feet. You know, this is why you look at Devante Cole, you know, to get in the team, because he'll be playing the shoulders of defenders, and he'll make those little darting little runs is what you need. And at the moment in time, they're just going into feet. It's coming back again. They're going square. It's going into feet again. It's coming back. There's nobody really, you know, darting. Deliberately going in behind them for that ball, but when they do see it going, and I've just seen Styles do it just then, but they refuse the pass, you know, and you've got to give those passes when you see them.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, it's just a frustrating night for the strikers.
Is that yeah? It's 6 and 2 threes at the moment, isn't it? Nothing's quite sitting for them. Yeah, Danny mentioned Devante Cole. I have to say, we were reading out the team news earlier, making kind of reference to the fact that, well, the big guns are there if required. I don't think we actually thought that they might be, but, well, they might be at the moment, with Barnsley trailing Horsham by 2-1 in the first half under the floodlights at Oakwell. The Reds playing from right to left. Can they get a face-saving equaliser before half-time? McAtee feeds it wide to Dodgson. First time cross from the dead ball line. Volleyed away. Horsham standing their ground as it does go out of play, and Jamie McCart will take it. A Scottish FA Cup winner with St Johnstone as recently as 2022. Wide again to McCart. He's given time to amble forward. Dodgson with the first time cross on the stretch. It's pushed away by Horsham. It was Jack Strange in the way. Now the counter-attack is on. A long way out of his 8-yard box. It's Ben Killip who clears the danger, the goalkeeper for Barnsley. So we're ticking towards first half stoppage time. Here's Styles to Dodgson. First time cross into the penalty area. Jallow! And as Jallow turned, swivelled on the deck, made fearsome contact with the ball, Lewis Kamari had committed, and somehow the ball is deflected away for a corner.
Again, you know, great crossing from the left-sided player, goes into Jallow, has a great first touch and falling backwards, but he still gets good contact with it, and he's hit the keeper from about 4 yards. I don't know how the keeper's got his foot to it, in fairness. Great save, but should he have scored? I would say yes.
So Barnsley 2-1 down. Dodgson looking for an equaliser before half-time. It's up to the edge of the box. Jallow brings it under control. He's had a few efforts. Oh! Goodness me, the 17-year-old Portuguese wonder kid on his first FA Cup start for Barnsley curls in a world-class goal, having had 2 or 3 efforts denied. There was no stopping that, and from the right corner of the penalty area, that seared into Lewis Carey's top left-hand corner, and the blushers before the break are spared. Barnsley 2, Horsham 2.
What a goal, what a great strike. I mean, his disappointment from missing the one just before, you know, you think, well, you know, if he comes to him again, he'll just flash one over straight in the postage stamp in the top goalkeeper's top right-hand corner. What a fantastic finish that was.
Well, that interest from Italy might come back now if they're watching on the BBC Sport website.
Well, that's what they look at, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah.
You know, that's the type of quality they're looking for, and for somebody from such a young age as he is, you know, to be able to how can I say, execute something like that, you know, that will stand him in good stead.
Goodness me, what a goal from Fabio Jallow. So Barnsley then 2-2, and as he struck that shot, the fourth official directly beneath us here walked up. 2 minutes on the board, of which we've had well, most of that now. Barnsley continuing to hold court in the middle third, but 2-2. What a half of football we've had. So 4 goals. Barnsley took the lead, then fell 2-1 down, but Jallow has it at 2-2. Here's Dodgson. Part of me hopes from a contest perspective, as long as Barnsley take the lead, of course, that doesn't kill Horsham's spirit. Here, McCart. Toe poked on to Dodson. Dodson turns in the cross. It's nicked off one in yellow. The covering player Harding, and shuffling across at his near post, Lewis Carey picks up the ball, and that pretty much, I suspect, will be that. So Carey out of hand, all eyes on Ben Toner, the referee. They've gone long, stooping to head it away from the racing Adjakai. Was Jordan Williams. Then an opportunity for O'Keefe to spread play to the near side. Of course, you get an extra minute or so, don't you, given goals going in. So Dodson, with those right boots, tracked every step of the way by Lee Harding. And now it indeed is that at the break. Ben Toner's blown his whistle as there are one or two moans and groans from the Barnsley faithful in attendance. There was a loud cheer from the Horsham supporters, who'll be proud of their side's efforts in the first half. It was all going so well for Barnsley, and you did wonder if it might be the first of a cricket score when Waters rattled in the first, but not to be. Horsham have been truly wonderful on the counter-attack, led by Daniel Adjakai, his brilliant run, and then simple pass was there for Shamir Fenelon to curl in absolutely brilliantly to make it 1-1. Then Callum Stiles hit the bar. Jallow was a nuisance, but none more so than Adjakai again, and as he drove into the penalty area, he was upended by Williams. James Hammond dispatched the penalty, so it left Barnsley looking for a face-saving goal, and they got it through Fabio Jallow. A curling effort, corner of the box, top corner. Nice one, 2-2. Brilliant half of football, Danny Wilson.
Well, yes, it was. It's I think we guessed what the game would go like in terms of possession-wise, where Barnsley would have the lion's share. But after going that when they were 1-0 down, Horsham, the one thing that really impressed me, they didn't dampen the spirits whatsoever. In fact, it galvanised them a little bit, and they got themselves together and they started to come out of the game. And I thought that if they do that a bit, too often, they could get punished by Barnsley. Well, they did it cleverly, really. They've got a game plan, obviously, that they've worked on. They're getting men behind the ball out of possession, in possession. They know exactly where the danger man is, and that's what you spoke about before. Adjakai, he's caused all sorts of problems to the back three in particular of Barnsley. And you have to say, they've had more chances, Barnsley, but you have to say they deserve to be, still in the game, do Horsham.
The fact that Barnsley, from a defensive perspective, clearly didn't learn their lesson, and ultimately that really led to the penalty, that will massively frustrate Neil Collins.
Yes, it will. It will, and he's a defender as well himself, so he'll take it a little bit more on the defenders more than anything. But yeah, I think what will annoy him more than anything, they keep making the same mistake again and again, and you make one mistake and you learn by it and you make sure it doesn't happen again. But on 3 or 4 occasions, they've let the Adjakai come up in the back of them without realising he was going to get in there, more than anything, without realising they needed cover on. And none of the 3 defenders covered each other, and it just typified with the last one with the penalty. They're out of position, they're scrambling to get back, and he draws a foul for the penalty. But so yeah, it's we always thought it was going to be a game that Barnsley will expect it to create the chances and take the game to them. But they've answered very, very well, Horsham.
Haven't they? And it remains all to play for. 4 goals in the first half, but nothing to separate the two sides. So it's Barnsley 2, Horsham 2.
Praise or grumble?
Massive praise. I think it was a really good game and we played them off the park. A huge grumble.
We're struggling up front at the minute. There's no one really to play up there.
Huge praise today. Absolutely chuffed a bit.
The original football phone-in.
Massive grumble. Second half, I think just went asleep.
We're not as far forward as we should be. We played about 10 minutes of football out of the 90.
It's definitely a praise. It's a good step in the right direction to where we want to get back to.
Praise or grumble?
A massive praise. Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic.
I'm really confused about every decision that they made. Every decision.
Saturday evening from 5.
BBC Radio Sheffield.
So, half-time then here at Oakwell. Let's get a check on the rest of the day's sport. Guiding you through half-time, Ben Ruth.
Thank you very much, Andy. We'll be back with Andy and Danny in about 15 minutes' time as Barnsley currently drawing against Horsham 2-2. Let's get some checks on half-time scores around the country. In the FA Cup, it's Sheffield United 7th tier side, Sheffield United 1, Walsall 1. And in the Championship, it's currently Leicester 0, Leeds United 0 at the King Power Stadium. We're going to talk more about the FA Cup now. Seventh tier side, Worksop Town have a bumper away tie against League 2 leaders Stockport County in the FA Cup first round proper tomorrow. Manager Craig Parry joined us on last night's Football Heaven and told us how preparations were going for the trip to Edgeley Park.
Full of excitement. We're in training now, preparing and getting the lads ready and getting everything in order, and obviously to what will be a fantastic day.
Have you managed to keep, I know everybody says always on the next game and the eyes on the next game, have you managed to keep focus on the next game, or has this been one that's just been in the back of the mind and you've been really looking forward to?
Yeah, I think it's always in the back of the mind. I think from everyone it is a difficult job to keep, especially the players, because we've still got league games to play to try and keep everyone focused, but now it's here, now it's upon us in 48 hours, it's exciting and we can fully focus now on this game.
I mean, what's been the talk amongst the players and the fan base since the draw was made? Because it's one of those dream ties, isn't it, that everyone at the club would have really wanted?
Yeah, it's a fantastic draw. Obviously, Stockport are flying high in League 2, top of the league, and obviously the draw came out. It's a good draw because you want to test yourself against high opposition, and you know there's no tougher opposition at the minute in time in Stockport from where they are in that league. So, you know, the talk's just been, excitement of going there with a good crowd. We're going to take a hell of a lot of fans with us and enjoy the day.
How many are you taking, do you know, roughly?
I think up to now there's between 1,500 to 1,800 seats being sold and still selling at the moment, so it's a really good following.
That's remarkable. I think that's more than really good, Craig, and I think that probably backs up just the ride that you've been on as a club for this past couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a great journey, especially over the last 2 seasons. There's so much credit that needs to be given out from the chairman, the committee, everyone in the club to give us the foundation for us as a management team and the players to enjoy this moment. And and it's one that it's important that as a club that we enjoy it all together.
Because you couldn't really go in on much better terms in the Northern Premier League Premier Division. Currently sat in 4th, excellent. I think you're unbeaten at home, aren't you? A 1-1 draw with Guiseley last time out. You're going in really good fettle.
Yeah, we're in good form. We, from a league perspective, we're doing well. We've probably a little bit above us expectations at the minute in time, but we're doing extremely well. The lads are playing well. There's a good atmosphere. There's a good vibe, and we couldn't be in a better position ourselves mentally and physically to go there and try and get a dream result.
Does this just show what a bit of confidence, bit of success does over the past year? Have you and your players really just bounced into it with a bit of fearlessness, and that's set you in well?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I'd just like to say that for us to do that, the foundations have got to be in place at any football club, to be able to do that and for us to perform. And at the minute, let's make it continue and try to keep going in the right direction.
How far can this club go? I mean, let's be honest, the focus this weekend is the FA Cup, but are you not putting a ceiling on it? It'd be great to keep making your way up the pyramid, wouldn't it?
Yes, definitely, yeah. Our ambition is to keep moving up the pyramid and try as best to keep, being competitive in every league and try to get out the leagues. We're all ambitious. We're inside this club and, it's not just the league, it's like the FA Cup. We're here now at the first round, and why not? Why not go there positive Saturday and think, why can we not get into the second round? So we're all in a positive mood and want to keep moving forward as a club as a whole.
And what would it mean it'd be great if you won, of course, but even if you draw, get a replay, that would be some event as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think either, would be amazing, but, we've got to go there first and be competitive and and be full of hope. And that's what we are. We're full of hope that we can go there and cause an upset. So let's see what Saturday brings.
Have preparations been good this week? Have you had any spanners thrown into the works? I know things can be a little bit more tricky and demanding in non-league than it is in the professional realms.
Yeah, we got through Tuesday without no scares. So and we've had some good news on a couple of players that have been injured that are fit now for Saturday. So it's been a positive week on the fitness front, and we're hopeful we can have a full selection of squad available for Saturday.
If you win, would this be your kind of biggest moment to date in football?
Oh yes, without a doubt. Yeah, I think even winning the league last year and even getting to the first round is probably the biggest so far for me in my early management career. But if we can get through to the second round, yeah, it topped the lot.
Yeah, from a personal perspective, it's going all right, isn't it, Craig, at Worksop?
Yeah, everything so far so good. So. I'm really pleased with how things are going. But like I said, we're a team here. Everyone's doing it together, and we all strive in the same direction.
Worksop Town manager Craig Parry there, ahead of their massive clash against Stockport County tomorrow at Edgeley Park. We hope there's a giant killing there for Worksop Town. Let's talk about the Blades now. Lots of Sheffield United fans on the phones and social media this week frustrated with their side's performance in losing 5-0 at Arsenal last weekend. So on reflection, was there a different way the Blades could have approached the game?
In terms of the game plan in the first half, how we dealt with them without the ball, we're happy. We felt when we got in moments with the ball in the first half, and particularly on the break, we didn't produce the quality that we needed in the final third. Simple as. We will always be critical of ourselves and look at what we could have done better. I think it's easier when you watch the game back to see what Arsenal did very well. Big moments, so comfortable, leaving their centre-backs 1v1, for example, against our forwards, which allows us to get pressure. But that's the level we're dealing with, and we have to compete and look forward to playing against these top players. That's it. So yeah, that was an issue in the first half. And the nature of the goals, we've said many a time, we need to make sure that we're all performing at a level to give ourselves the best possible chance. We weren't happy with the goals we conceded, so ultimately we never gave ourselves a chance.
Because Ollie Norwood was pretty strong after the game in terms of the players and their responsibility in that. Do you need to kind of see that more individually and people, taking more account themselves for some of these moments? Yeah, we do. But I think in the second half, the goals took the game away from us, and it makes the game really difficult. Then when they're bringing on the substitutes we are, and we're bringing on the substitutes we are, against no disrespect, it's fighting against that emotion when you're 3-0 down and they're bringing on multi-million-pound players. We're giving Ryan his debut. That's just the reality, though. We have to keep competing. The game may have gone. It may have gone. But that's the challenge, the mentality of the situation that we find ourselves in. We have to go and compete and still keep, in my view, keep striving to be the best you can be and competing against these top players. And because that's the level we've got ourselves to. Because obviously, like, from an individual perspective and a collective perspective, you have shown against some of the top teams, like the Man United game the weekend before, that you can get a little bit. Yeah, but we've still not won, so we've still not done enough. Do you know that's what I'm saying? That we have to scrap and fight for those margins. A pat on the back in a game for us is not good enough. We have to get the point. Simple, and that's what we need to continue fighting for and understand that. Don't shy away from being brave or being the one that may make the mistake. We have to be brave to take the ball. We have to be brave to go and compete, to try and win the ball back. And if the other teams are good enough to deal with us, so what? But we want that performance, because we've shown even if it's been in games and we haven't quite managed to do it for 90 minutes, we've shown that when we have done it, we've been good enough. But we've got to produce that for longer and be more consistent at delivering that. You went with Rhian Brewster ahead of Cameron Archer. Do you potentially need to try and get both of them on the pitch at the same time to have a bit more impact up top? Yeah, we do, but we've also got to protect them, especially Rhian. When Cam's been leading the line now after not having a big pre-season, very, very well, and I've been really pleased with how he's approached what we've asked him to do. But we tried to get as many attacking players on the pitch as we could against Arsenal, but still have that defensive discipline, which we did, but we didn't deliver. We didn't deliver in the final third. We need to deliver this weekend. Anis Slimani got his first start. what have you made of him? What did you make of him last weekend and his progress since joining the club this summer?
He's learning a lot. We've been really clear on his role and where he needs to help us and help himself get more minutes on the pitch without the ball. Can't be too loose. But do you know what? He's really showing me that he wants to do it. He's really showing me that he wants to compete. He's really showing me that he wants to learn. And I don't think for 1 minute that he likes not being in the 11. Does that make sense? I can see it, I know it, and I like his personality. And I feel like in these last few weeks he's performed better.
Does he need to be knocking?
So that's Paul Heckingbottom, the Sheffield United manager, speaking to us ahead of what is a big game against Wolverhampton Wanderers tomorrow. We'll have coverage of that on BBC Radio Sheffield. Our commentary, incidentally, is Bristol City against Sheffield Wednesday. The full second half of Barnsley 2, Horsham 2 is seconds away, and we'll also have Chesterfield against Portsmouth in the FA Cup. So 2-2 it is. Horsham have given Barnsley one almighty scare in the first 45 minutes. It is they who are going to make a change at half-time. Rodriguez is coming on for them. Lucas Santos Rodriguez, a Brazilian-born footballer, just having his studs tended to, and Charlie Hester-Cook is going off. So one of the more noticeable players from the first half, Hester-Cook, is going off. I say so because he really did put himself about. Well, maybe that's led to some kind of injury. And Lucas Santos Rodriguez is on the field. So, can Barnsley atone for their first half errors? Have they learnt their lesson? Can they change all of their possession into goals? We shall see on Football Heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. Ben Toner checks his watch, has a nod to the linesman on the near side as we await the resumption of this tie. The goal scorer, or one of the goal scorers, Shamir Fenlon, stands over the centre spot, and we are off and underway. So 2-2 with Barnsley playing from left to right as we look towards the empty Pontefract Road end. They were fortunate to go in, having seen Fabio Joao curling a worldie to make it 2-2. So, first and foremost, Danny Wilson, what do the Reds need to do in the early part of this second half?
Well, again, I think we spoke about it at the beginning of the game. It's get the tempo of the passing in. They've got to move that ball quicker. They've got to be better in midfield. They've got to pick the passes into the strikers much better than they did in the first half. But overall, I think they've just got to stick in there. And I think as the game goes on, I think Neil himself will be the one who'll change things around a bit. If they don't get any joy in what they're doing in the first 10 or 15 minutes, you can see some changes come in with some substitutions.
Here's Jallo dancing over the ball. And I do mean dancing. He's fed the ball in from the corner flag. He's trying to win it back as the visitors won it back. But, you're 17 years old, Danny Wilson. You play for Portugal under 18s already, and you're going to get some attention from the goal you've just scored to equalise at 2-2 in the FA Cup. What a goal that was.
Yeah, of course you are. And I think from my point of view, when I'm looking at him, he could have been really, really disappointed because he missed a bit of a sitter just before that. But then he conjures up an absolute gem of a finish. And again, if you're the big clubs, that's the type of qualities you're looking for.
So, Football Heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. Then we are live at Oakwell. The ball is at the back with Miles de Gevigné pushing the ball right-footed down to Jordan Williams, who was a little bit careless with some of his possession in the first half. It's rolled into the feet of McAtee. He turns and turns again, hassled, harried and shackled as Barnsley try and build an attack, this time on the near side. O'Keefe, capable of tremendous assists. I saw him create one down at Cardiff, at Cambridge recently, where the Reds won 4-0. Lovely step over by Kane. Barnsley then continue to attack. We watch seated to our right-hand side. Here's McAtee, glancing cross. Oh, and it's just nicked off the knee. I don't think he knew a great deal about it, Owen Dodson on the far side, and the ball is thundered away to relative safety by the visitors, Horsham. here Barnsley come again. McCart turning 360, stumbles, is then set upon, then he's adjudged to have fouled the substitute, who's just come on for Horsham, Santos Rodriguez. Much to the ire of the East Stand side, Danny, it's a free kick to the visitors.
Yeah, he's just a bit clumsy, wasn't it, more than anything? Not a particularly bad foul, but again, we're just seeing there the Barnes are getting in great positions in the box as well, and I think from what the cross came in, I think he just surprised everybody more than anybody, and dodging it just hit him on the shins at the back post. He didn't expect the ball to come through to him, and that little bit of concentration is what we're talking about.
Incidentally, Lucas Rodriguez started in the most recent game, so he's back to playing. We were talking earlier in the game about the Lardy army amongst the supporters. Well, it turns out Lucas Rodriguez is sponsored by the Old Fart Society, so they don't take themselves too seriously down in that part of Sussex. Here's O'Keefe. Infield it goes to Williams, and now De Gevigné trying to get a bit of a burst on through the centre circle. But, Barnsley, who have a lot of the ball, but not a lot of it is particularly pressing. Let's see if that changes. Williams floating it over the top, just drifting in behind the back line, Max Waters, but it's too high for him. Lewis Carey, who pulled off a number of superb stops in the first half, shuffles forward to grab the ball, and away it goes. Incidentally, Sheffield United, the lowest ranked team, the 8th tier team, are level at 1-1 with Walsall. No goals last I checked between Leicester and Leeds United. And I set that tape to record thinking that will be an absolute blinder. It might be, but at the minute it's 0-0. Here's O'Keefe, wide on the near side, cutting in. He will lay it to the edge of the penalty area. McAtee now driving on, inside right channel of the penalty area, tracked every step of the way by James Hammond, whose penalty is the difference, or was the difference between the two sides before Jallow scored. And then Jordan Williams gets a corner out of his opponent at the Pontefract Road end.
Again, they're defending very, very well. Horsham getting men behind the ball. They're getting men in good areas which doesn't allow any sort of slide rule passes going through them. They look very compact. They're going to have to work very hard to get an opening here at Barnsley.
So Dodson's corner, whacked right-footed, De Gevigné, and then McCart. No, it was McCart who made a half-hearted attempt to jump to that. He tried to look at the referee to suggest that he was having his shirt pulled, but he wasn't. He just didn't jump high enough, and the ball sailed over his head and behind for a goal kick. So 2-2 is the scoreline here. Harry the Hornet, the mascot for Horsham, has been going 10 to the dozen away to our left-hand side. Harry the Hornet, is 18 years old. Otherwise, it's Matt, who's in his early 50s, and come up with the rest of the travelling supporters this evening. Quite a few of them did arrive here early. There were one or two groups of supporters in amber and green when I arrived at about 10 past 5. So the journey up was either far quicker than they thought, or they're making a day of it. As a free kick is plotted by Bobby Price over on the far side. 2 or 3 paces back from the ball. They're actually attacking towards their travelling supporters now. Horsham driven forward right-footed. The ball spirals into the air. Quickly off his line, Ben Killip makes the catch before underarm bowling it to his left. And here's Jamie McCart once again. So here's Kane, 5 or 6 yards short of the halfway line. Into Jordan Williams. Scored in that wonderful FA Cup tie against Barrow, the 5-4 in it was 2019, was it? Or possibly a little bit more recently than that. As Williams, as Barnsley stay on the attack. Waters side-footing the ball in field to Gevigné. A little bit more urgency required, so say the supporters on the East Stand side. A lot of square passing from Barnsley, trying to draw the visitors out, but they're not buying. As De Gevigné toe pokes it into Williams. First time pass to the near side, out of play past O'Keefe. He's shaking his head there, the experienced defender. I have to say though, Danny, not for the first time today, he's been a little lax with the ball.
Yeah, he's been very loose, hasn't he? I think he's got some very many stray passes, that's come off him. I think it's just a little lack of concentration. Sometimes you get that much time on the ball, and because the Horsham team are just falling back into positions so they can't penetrate them, you tend to have a lot of ball, and the centre backs have had a lot of touches but not really seen anything. And I think what you end up doing is doing exactly what Williams has been doing and give the ball away.
Well, just as we were talking about Williams, I was glancing down and seeing Neil Collins there stood on the edge of his technical area, and he was talking in the press conference about how these ties are never straightforward, even if perhaps sometimes they appear to be. And those words seem a little prophetic at the moment as Jallow again digs the ball out of his feet. He was about 12 yards from goal and scooped it up, but Lewis Carey was able to make the catch in front of his goalmouth. So football heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. From Monday will also be the home of Ellie Colton at breakfast. Toby is moving to the afternoon show, so well, don't miss either of those. Spliced in between Paulette. Whatever happens today, incidentally, we will have reaction to this tie via our website, bbc.co.uk/Radio Sheffield. And Rotherham against Ipswich on Tuesday. So a free kick then, which Bobby Price stands over. Looking back, he will cut it to Lewis Carey, who's starred for the likes of Bromley and Tunbridge Angels. He's the fourth new goalkeeper in 4 successive seasons for Horsham. You wouldn't want that higher up the leagues, would you, Danny? No, goodness me.
No, you wouldn't.
I assume there's a million reasons why that might be. Jobs. There are Horsham players who are teachers. As I joked a little earlier, one of them works for HMRC, 1 or 2 of them are in the building trade. The manager is in sales, in telecom sales, as Jallow is trying to just nudge his way forward in the end as he made his final step. He was caught offside, and it will be against Fabio Jallow, whose goal ultimately has Barnsley level at 2-2.
They're getting a little bit frustrated at the moment, Barnsley.
Yeah.
They can't really see a way through this amber wall of defensive work. And I think we've just seen Gavinji, who tried to run the ball through, overran it again. We just had a booking again for a bit of frustration really that's happened off the ball, and I think that McCart went in the referee's book for that. So there's little bits of things that are sneaking into the game now, Barnes, and they'll be delighted with this auction.
Would you, if you were Neil Collins, be thinking about a change, or is it a bit too early?
I'll be thinking about a change, definitely, yes. I don't think they're not finding any inroads at all. It's very similar to the patterns they played in the first half, and they were quite comfortable with that Horsham, and here we go again.
As Barnsley give the ball away, and there is the counter-attacking threat from Daniel Adjakai, but on this occasion the door was closed by Jordan Williams. Horsham though have it. De Javigny gets a shove in the back from Hammond as the ball goes out of play, but it will be a throw into the Reds. O'Keefe just throws it back into his own territory. I think he was intending for it to be for Jordan Williams, but he wasn't looking. So if you're just tuning in, it is a cracking cup tie, albeit a nervous one from a Barnsley perspective. 2-2. They led by 2-1, the non-league visitors, but Fabio Jallow made it 2-2 right on the stroke of half-time. Jallow the intended target for a pass there, but it's scissor kicked away by Barker, who backpedals to the edge of the penalty area. So Kane again, looking up, the former Liverpool trainee, who cost Barnsley £1.25 million, infield to De Javigny. The ball is squared through the centre circle now to Williams, but the pattern of the game continues. Horsham providing no way through to Kane, to the edge of the penalty area, slipped by Waters, wide to Kane, who'd continued his run. He takes up the ball before pushing it in field, but again the blockers are there on the edge of the penalty area, and De Javigny has fouled the scorer, Shamir Fenlon. Then they go long. Adjakai's after it. He's got the beating of Williams for pace. Everybody urged forward for Horsham. Adjakai is shielding the ball, but only temporarily. Jordan Williams on this occasion beats his opponent and slips it back to the goalkeeper Ben Killip.
And nearly got himself in a bit of difficulty there, did Williams, because he wasn't looking at the pass originally, and all he could see was a run from the striker going in behind him, and he reacted to that. He didn't know where the ball was, so he did well at the end of it, really, to force the ball away from the striker again. But he's again, we keep talking about little things that's happening in the games, and they've not learning the lessons on it. And Ajakai again is causing problems.
Here's McAtee taking it forward, but then it's intercepted. The amber wall, as previously described, is doing its job, and Shamir Fenelon then tried to drive around the outside of Jordan Williams, but ultimately ends up running the ball out of play. So, well, look, the clock is ticking for Barnsley if they don't want to replay down in Sussex, as picturesque as Horsham may well be. So 2-2 the latest score, as McCart bounces the ball into the Horsham right-back position. There, chasing after it, it's McAtee, the willing runner. Into the back of the defender, he shields the ball. Now Kane. Time and space to gather the ball and roll it into a central position. Now Williams zipping the pass wide to the near side to O'Keefe. He takes control, takes on two in amber and green, darts his way to the dead ball line, stands up the cross, but in the end it's got too much on it for Dodgson, who'd made a darting run in at the near post from the left. Here's Kane again, wide to Dodgson. Good first touch, chipped. Tried to be a bit too cute with McCart. McCart didn't make the run forward, so in the end it just looked like a hack pass out of play.
Well, it was again. It was a ball that didn't have to be played. In fairness, as I said before, you don't want to start getting clever with little balls like that when you're in good positions, and a bit of a waste of a good opportunity to put the ball in the box there.
So Barnsley then winners of the FA Cup in 1912. 2-2 at the moment. Horsham only generally flirt with the first round proper of the FA Cup. They are, of course, part-timers, and it remains 2-2. I can just imagine our colleagues in the national media, BBC and elsewhere, sharpening their pens or getting set to write some kind of upset story, even if it's level at full time.
I just think that as the game's going on as well, on the fitness levels are going to be a big stark difference in terms of, well, I think so, in terms of here we go, sorry.
Dodgson into Waters, who'd made a brilliant shooting run up to the edge of the penalty area, but the sliding defence crabbed across. There was a blocker and it's gone behind for a corner.
Yeah, I just think as the game goes on, I think the fitness level's going to tell. Only training part-time, it's going to take an effect, I'm sure. A couple of runs there, I just looked at, well, we keep talking about the threat that they have going forward in Ajakai, and he couldn't get forward, he's just having a breather, so I do think that as the game goes on, and I think if the substitutions start to come on, I think there'll be a big difference there.
Well, there are one or two in Horsham colours right now, but just prior to that, one or two reds warming up as well. Here's Williams switching the ball between his left boot and his right, scampering forward now to Kane, looking to take the lead as Dodgson strikes one. Wow, rasping effort, hit like an Exocet missile through the players on the edge of the box, but not a diving Lewis Carey, who dropped down to his left brilliantly to tip the ball away for a corner.
Great strike, wasn't it? He scored a great goal against Shrewsbury the other weekend, exactly same position. Lovely strike, great save.
Well, now here is an excellent moment for Barnsley supporters. Luca Connell is coming on for his first football of the season. Nicky Cadden is also coming on. Max Waters is making way. So too is Herbie Kane. But it's great to see such an influential player rolling out there on the grass again.
That'll give everybody a big lift, that. Luca Connell coming on. I think he's been away for a while now. He'll give the team, the fans, everybody a big lift.
So in comes the corner into the penalty area, headed up high and away by Jack Strange, who's underneath it. Williams again, 30 yards out. The ball swept up to the edge of the penalty area, cleared again away by Horsham. A reminder, there's 98 places difference between these two in the league ladder. Nothing is the difference, though, at the minute on the score sheet, as Jallow. Back it goes to the edge of the penalty area, looking for McAtee. A little scooped effort over the top of two in yellow, but it's cleared away by the third, and it will be Barnsley who get the opportunity with the corner from the far side, which O'Keefe goes out to take. So Luca Connell coming on for Herbie Kane in the middle of the park. In comes the corner. High it goes, and then the glancing header, and Barnsley have stolen the lead, and it's Maël de Gevigné, the Frenchman, with the headed glancing goal that dropped past the stranded, rooted to the spot, Lewis Carey. And is that Barnsley's get out of jail free moment? 63rd minute. Barnsley 3, Horsham 2.
Yeah, I think that is now, Andy. I think you're right. I think that's a defining moment in this game. You just look to the defenders, the Horsham defenders. They look really leg weary. I mean, not one of them jumped with the centre back there when he scored the goal there. So I just look at them, and in fact, looking at who's coming off as well. And we've got to the best player on the park for them. You know, Adjokai's coming off. He looks absolutely shattered, and I can imagine so with all the running he's been doing. But I think as a team, they just look a bit tired now. I can't see Barnsley, letting this one slip from here now.
So substitutions are aplenty. Cadell Daniel is the player who's come on for Adjokai. As the substitutions went aplenty for Barnsley too as well. It is football heaven. It's BBC Radio Sheffield. Nicky Cadden was also brought onto the field of play for the Reds too. So corner then for Horsham, who are looking to respond after de Gevigné had headed them 3-2 in front, as Harding will take it. Bent in right-footed, high into the penalty area, caught coolly and calmly in the end by Ben Killip. As Barnsley look to try and play their way out of trouble. So Cadden on, so ultimately it's Jallow and McAtee who are the front two at the moment, as Dodson has dropped into a slightly deeper role. Here is Cadden. He's dropped towards the left of the back three, Owen Dodson, with Cadden one step further forward. Here's Luca Connell skying a high diagonal ball, going in search of Corey O'Keefe. We'll put that down to ring rustiness. 50-yard ball.
Yeah, I think they've gone into a back four. If I'm honest, I think they've dropped Dawson into a left back position and just put Williams into the right back position. So I think they've gone the 4-4-2 basically, and I think the extra one at the front might just make a bit of difference as well.
So it is football heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. Neil Collins, who wasn't smiling earlier, is having a bit of a joke with whoever is underneath the white plastic perspex of the dugout directly in front of us here. Just over a final quarter of the match to go. Football heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. De Gevigné has made it 3-2. Here he is in possession, turning. That's his second goal in Reds colours, having got his first down at Cambridge. Now at the back it's McCart. Lays a ball through the centre circle, which de Gevigné has to stride onto, into Williams, down the line to O'Keefe, and Williams gets in behind. A scruffy cross, but get the cross away he did before it's cleared away by Harvey Sparks. Now Connell turned before he was almost upended in the middle of the park by Rodriguez, and Barnsley come again. Cadden sprinting down the east stand side. In goes the cross, cleared away. Dodson brings it under control, turned, and now back to Cadden again. Three await the cross. He jinks and dummies but doesn't fool the defender. He blocks. Harding clears it away, and in the end it all ends up in a bit of a mess, and it will be a free kick to the visitors.
They look a little bit more menacing, I have to say, Barnsley. I think they're going to. It looks like they're going to add to this tally at the moment. I think the two full-backs and a good decision, I think, to go into a back four, because I don't think they need 3 centre-backs. And I think the full-backs that's in the wider areas now can cause a lot more damage now, and they can get 2v1s. You can double up on the defenders in a much easier position.
It is an area of the squad that is of great strength to Barnsley. 4 very competent wide players in that role, and here is Cadden, arguably the pick of the bunch, as he gets it, gives it, feeds it into the feet of Dodson, continued his run forward, but the returning ball was overhit. Praise or grumble, incidentally, to any Reds fans listening in on air tomorrow. If you want to have your say with us, most welcome. 0800 111 49 49 is the number for you to have your say. Also in the FA Cup, Sheffield United 1, Walsall 3 is now the latest score. So the Football League team taking control of that one. 55 minutes of football played at Leicester 0, Leeds United 0.
Fabio Jallo just got a very heavy challenge from the back there. I don't think the referee saw much of it, but I could see it from here. Centre back come and wiped him out right through him. But so whether he'll stay on, because it looks a very heavy tackle from here.
Right. Okay. Well, he's just having his left ankle tended to. Let's remind fans who are maybe just switching on. He scored a wonderful equaliser. In fact, of all of the attacking players in the first half, he was the one that clearly had the most end product, but ultimately a final pass, if you like, even if it didn't end up in the back of the net. He had the chance that was saved by Carey, and then he did go and score. He was more impactful than some of his older peers.
He's had a very good game, in fairness to him. You know, he's been one of the highlights of the Barnsley side. Of course he has. You know, and for a 17-year-old boy to stand out like he has done, you know, it bodes well for the future.
Yeah, very much so. 5 years with the Benfica Academy in his home city, but injured at the moment, and ultimately needing that little bit of treatment. Whilst that is happening, let me remind you that should you wish to, at your leisure, we've got Owl's Heaven and Blades Heaven. And any reaction that we get tonight, and of course we will, we'll put it to you via our website, bbc.co.uk/Radio Sheffield. Well, such is the injury concern that Adam Phillips looks as though he's coming on. Fabio Jallo is grimacing as he hobbles to the near touchline. Let us hope that is nothing too long term, because at the moment Fabio Jallo seems set for quite a bit of first team football at Barnsley this season. Adam Phillips is coming on for his 8th appearance in the FA Cup, of course sent off at Wembley against Sheffield Wednesday in the League One playoff final, and Phillips comes on and Dodson goes off. All right then, but there's no way. That's got to be a mistake. Yeah, Jallo is. Owen Dodson was originally signalled on the board to come off. He'd raced all the way to the near side of the pitch and then was sent back to the other side. Hang on a minute.
Is that the wrong number up again?
Is that the two? Oh, for goodness sake. Anyway, Phillips are on, Jallo off.
I think the fourth official have a bit of a nightmare.
No, not for the first time.
Yeah.
So wide it goes to the far side again. Barnsley trying to pepper the edge of the penalty area with chances. Cadden with the cross. It's hit low, venomously towards the penalty spot, but the cover was there. So Barnsley leading by 3-2. Connell with the cross is a searching one. It will bounce twice in the 18-yard box before it's picked up by O'Keefe, but he's slipping on the slightly wet surface. And it's not cutting up a great deal. It's been, moist this evening, hasn't it? Rather more than anything else. Bit of rain at times, nothing too significant. As Dodson weaves up from halfway. Then he's crunched by Lee Harding, and now the visitors in amber and green look to launch a counter-attack. They're pretty good at it as well, as the ball is sent into the penalty area. De Gevigné eases it away on his right boot, kept in play by Cadden on the far touchline. Owen Dodgson deals with this safely. Luca Connell gets Nicky Cadden back in possession again, and the East Stand just give a little bit of a come on as he trots towards halfway. So FA Cup football on the BBC, 18 minutes of normal time to go. Styles pirouetting 180, hacked to the ground by James Hammond, whose penalty had Horsham leading 2-1. Then another loose pass is intercepted. Cadell Daniel is the one that went after it. As here, Horsham come again to the edge of the penalty area. De Gevigné knocks his opponent to the ground. Santos Rodriguez, the pair of them end up in a heap. Mercifully for Barnsley, the referee doesn't think a great deal of it.
I don't know what Jim McCourt's thinking about there. He just gets caught up with it. A ball gets to him, miscontrols it, tries to step across the striker, who just brushes him inside, and he goes down and asks for a foul. He's never been a foul. And then the striker goes on into the box, and it was only for Gevigné who got back and got across him. Fantastic tackle, really, and covering tackle, because that could have been 3-3 quite easily.
Yeah, Barnsley are guilty of being careless at times so far this evening. I will say though that in the first half, the kind of the power and the pace of Adjakai really did frighten them. Look, players can be in certain circumstances for different reasons, of course, but on tonight's viewing, at least, he looks at least half decent for a pop in the National League, given the pace and the power that he's got. But look, I've only seen him tonight, and he's now gone off because he's tired. So, but he has played very well.
He has played very well.
I mean, if he was fitter, I mean, goodness me, whatever,
Yeah.
He's absolutely rapid.
Oh, he is. I mean, like it's the three people at the back of Barnsley were delighted to see him go off.
Yeah, I bet they were. Yeah, particularly Jordan Williams.
Yes.
So fourth official in action again. Let's see if he gets the right numbers this time. Richards is coming on and Tuck is coming on for them. So Tuck first, Harding off.
Substitution for Horsham, replacing number 23, Harding. Coming on wearing 15 is Douglas Tuck.
Doug Tuck then, a former Brighton youth team player. I realise you've probably heard us say that quite a bit, but it is a well-worn path. And
coming off wearing number 20 is James Hammond, being replaced coming off wearing number 17.
Rhys Miles Meekums is coming on for Hammond. So, well, lo and behold, another Barnsley footballer. And Richards is coming on as well. So it is football heaven. It is BBC Radio Sheffield. Changes are plenty then for Horsham for the final knock-ins of this game. And it is at the back. And Carey stands over the ball, having conceded 3. He is noted for being good with possession, but I can't help but feel that goal kick was scuffed to the near side. Barnsley then will stay on the front foot.
Fair credit to Horsham, the substitutions they've made. They've gone to a 4-2-4 formation. 4 strikers on the pitch, which is absolutely fantastic. So, they're having a real go. They might as well lose by 6 as lose by 1.
Nothing to lose right now. Still the non-leaguers come again, but the fairly firm challenge in the middle of the pitch allows Barnsley to win the ball back. Here's Luca Connell. Allowed time and space just to make a few yards before it's worked down the far side. Into the feet of Phillips. To Connell. Quick passing required from the Reds as they temporarily retreat to halfway. Connell scythe to the ground. Just in front of the referee as well. And in the end, Rodriguez with that heavy challenge. So Barnsley have it. Ticking ever so slowly towards a victory against Horsham in the FA Cup. But, well, Horsham led 2-1 earlier. There's been lots of chances. I have to say, in terms of volume of chances, the second half has been a few less than there was in the first, which was really quite open. Now Phillips tossing it high and over the top, and McAtee over the keeper. Got a touch. It forced Carey to backpedal, and in the end it had a bit too much height and not enough distance on it.
Yeah, just a little bit of pace. It just took it away from him, so he couldn't quite get hold of the shot properly. But unlucky, he tried to lift it over the goalkeeper, but got height on it rather than any distance.
So Barnsley have it through goalkeeper Ben Killip. Reached the fourth round recently with Hartlepool. They ended up losing to Crystal Palace. He was cited in their match report for making quote-unquote a string of fine saves, as a nudge in the back doesn't deny Phillips the opportunity to work it wide to Dodson, who's got it, given it and continued his run as Nicky Cadden changes the option and brings in Connell. Cadden now skirts around the defender, in goes the cross, punched away by Carey. It was an important touch. Williams following up, absolutely skied it. One of the stewards is going to have to dig that out of Rose. Well, I was about to say Z, it's not that to be accurate, let's say S.
Yeah, I don't think John knew exactly what he wanted to do with the ball there. Caught in two minds, doesn't do either, and flash it 20 yards over the bar.
Connell wins it back and shoots. Carey makes a brilliant save. They're following up here again. Here's Styles again to Connell, placing another fine save. Only this time the ball has gone into the side netting. Goodness gracious me, what a passage of play. Lewis Carey with some fine saves, Barnsley with some honking misses, and in the end they've hit the side netting.
It was a comedy of errors, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A comedy of errors in finishing, a comedy of errors in defending. I think the goalkeeper comes out with with maximum points from that little escapade, but I think he could have got hold of one or two, pushed them back into the path of strikers.
For the cameras.
Yeah, for the cameras. Yeah, but at the same time, you think that the Barnes would have finished it off with one of the shots they had, but they didn't, and end up putting the ball wide into side netting for the final effort.
So Carey, as the game wears on, is cramping up a little, so needs treatment. Styles is having a word with Neil Collins, presumably to ask him, how did I miss, Gaffer? And Carey's going to be okay to continue, and play will resume shortly then. So Lewis Carey in many ways earned his stripes today, saving from Jallow in the first half, from McAtee and from Connell and Styles and McAtee on that occasion.
He's certainly been the busier of the two keepers, hasn't he?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
And when you think about the drama of the match, really, Barnsley might have had 6 or 7 goals. I realise seldom do teams take every chance, but had they have done, the drama of the two that Horsham have got might have been not required.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you've got to be clinical. As I said before, you've got to respect your opposition, but you've got to be clinical with them. You've got to put the ball in back of net and have that total respect for them and shake their hands at the end of it.
Well, the ball is pushed on now, and here's Rodriguez bearing down on goal, drawn the goalkeeper, and Horsham have equalised with 10 minutes of normal time to go. They've stung Barnsley as Tom Richards fires into an empty net, a zipping counter-attack, and it's still all to play for in this 6-goal FA Cup thriller. Barnsley 3, Horsham 3.
Wow, I mean, where did that come from? They just at the other end, they just had a plethora of opportunities, and the goalkeeper saved them. They have one pass, it goes in down the side of the centre-back, gets squared off. The Barnsley boys are going bananas actually at the linesman. They think the guy who's put the ball in the net was offside. We couldn't see from this position, but it certainly looked onside from where we were, but possibly that's their argument about it. But there's still no excuse really. They just let him go in the back of them without anybody taking any measures against them, and he just squares the ball off, no problem, he runs it into an empty net.
So 10 minutes to win it, otherwise it will be a replay. 3-3 then. Can Barnsley turn some of their possession as Callum Styles kicks the turf in frustration as the game restarts once again? It's very believable, but kind of unbelievable at the same time, given the way the game was going.
It is. I mean, it was all Barnsley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All Barnsley completely, and that's the time again when you've got to concentrate. When you're not involved in it too much, particularly in the defensive side of it, you've got to be on your toes. And again, then that left-hand side there, at the Barnsley defenders there, they've just been caught wanting again. And I think with McCart and Javigny in that area there, they've got to defend better. They just can't just allow people to run in the back of them.
So Connell into the back of Cadell Williams, who gets back to his feet hurriedly, with the visitors getting a free kick inside their own half. So 8 minutes of normal time to go. It's played forward quickly, too quickly for all concerned. It's brought the assistant manager for Horsham directly out of his technical area. He's furious with that. Barnsley have been given possession back. The Horsham fans, the Lardy army with the yellow and green flag, are bouncing up and down, 10 to the dozen. As things stand, they are seeing their side earn a replay at League One high flyers Barnsley. To the back it goes under Javigny once again. Into Jamie McCart. Through the centre circle he goes. Wide to Owen Dodgson. Back to McCart once again. Still Barnsley pass and pass and pass. Down it comes to O'Keefe. Into Styles. Had to react quickly away from Rodriguez. Substitutions are coming for the Reds. Cotter and Cole stripped and ready to come on. Now Dodgson. Infield it comes to Connell. Wide it goes, Connell again, just a hack it across, and it will bounce and Carey takes it. Are they overplaying it still? Are they overplaying it at the moment, Dan?
Well, I think this is why I think that Devante Cole's coming on. I think from that point of view, they're overpassing them. They're not hurting the defenders of Horsham, and they're not putting them in any pressure where they're having to work that hard or be tired and this, that and the other. They're just getting their strength from the fact that they're not putting the ball down the sides of them, the back of them. It may change now that when Devante comes on and Cotter comes on, both attacking players, but the ball that Devante Cole requires is those little balls that's in behind, and that's what they will be dreading, the Horsham boys, because of this.
So here's Williams. Down the line it goes. 85th minute of the match. O'Keefe recovers his footing, plays it in behind. Richards, whose goal has Horsham level, blocks at the dead ball line. Connell knocks Rodriguez off his stride and Barnsley have it. Now to O'Keefe, looking for an option in the penalty area, realised there wasn't one. Now Williams toe prodding it through into Phillips. Dead ball line, gets a corner out of the defender. Barnsley will want to take this quickly, but they can't. Substitutes coming. So O'Keefe off, Cotter on. Right wing back for right wing back. And in the end, we are seeing O'Keefe off and Cole on. So Barry Cotter is on for the remainder of the game. Nicky Cadden comes down to the near side underneath the Norman Rinningson stand to take the corner in striking fluorescent yellow boots with 4.5 minutes of normal time to go. 3-3 in a 6-goal thriller. Bent into the penalty area and Cotter got the first touch. In the end it's smuggled behind. I think Carey may have got the final touch. Either way it's a corner, whether it came off him or a defender. So another corner, this time for Cadden. Can he do a better job? This time it's bent in, high into the box. Cole flew at it. And in the end, the leading scorer can't have been more than a whisker away from making contact.
I don't think they knew much about that at the back there. I think there were 6 and 7s of Horsham defenders there. The first corner, it just come ricocheted off one of the defenders' legs, didn't know much about it. And secondly there, they're all going for the ball there, don't know where it's gone. Thankfully, from their point of view, it goes for dead ball kick.
So, Barnsley 3, Horsham 3 here at Oakwell. Barnsley have used for all 5 of their subs now. It's driven from the head of Danny Barker. I mean, if Horsham nick one at the end, there'll be pandemonium in the away end. and an awful lot of disgruntled Reds fans going home. Here's Connell. His volleyed first-time pass forward is intercepted by Barker. Up towards halfway it goes, and Lucas Santos Rodriguez again. The visitors barrel on down the far side with midfielder Reece Miles Meekums. There it is for Ben Killip just to gobble it up and underarm ball it to the near side. Barry Cotter cuts in field. Laid the diagonal ball back to De Javigne. To Connell. Final 3 minutes of normal time at the end of the match. 3-3 is the scoreline. Into De Javigne. Cotter calling for it wide on the right-hand side. De Javigne doesn't respond. This time it's zipped into the feet of Cole, who was well marked there by the defender on the edge of the box, Jack Strange. Wrong option. Should have come wide to the near side. Here it's De Javigne once again from the throw-in. Barnsley's pace has fallen back down to just slightly better than casual. They're going to have to try and speed that up if they want to win it in without the need for the replay before it's clubbed away by Richards. It's all a bit readable if you're Horsham, isn't it?
Well, they're not being pulled around anywhere. You can see in front of us now the line of defenders, like the two banks of a 5 and a 4, and they're just not moving. You know, again, that's one of the first balls he put up in the back of them, but they dealt with it very well. You know, you have to say they've done excellent at the back for Horsham. I know they've conceded 3 goals, you know, but considering all the play they've had, Barnsley, they've done very well.
Well, Cotter is dispossessed by Richards on the near side, the left, and Rodriguez is after it, legs pumping. De Javigne just had the beating of him for pace after a spirited 40-50 yard dash. Here's Connell into the centre circle, looks to his right. Williams forward into the feet of Cotter. Williams gets it back, then it's pushed into a more central position with the Horsham fans waiting to celebrate the acquisition of a replay down on the south coast, or there or thereabouts, as Barnsley are prevented from getting a corner, but Horsham club the clearance into the 18-yard box. Only in the end is it cleared away on the near side by Harvey Sparks. Connell again. Final minute of normal time. Stiles tried to bring it under control, but before he could do so, he's knocked to the ground and the ball is cleared away. Dodson. Back to halfway. Here's Connell. Connell looks up and rolls it to Javigne, who's in the centre circle. Williams. Cole waiting to pounce on the D on the edge of the penalty area. Can Barnsley get one today as Cotter rolls it down the line to Cole, beats his man, then slips as he's eased off the ball. More frustration for Barnsley. De Javigne attacks the defensive header just inside Horsham's half of the pitch. In 10 seconds we'll find out how much added time there'll be. Cotter wins it back, driving to the dead ball line. In goes the cross, shooting opportunity for Adam Phillips, who you would have put your mortgage on scoring. He was virtually on the penalty spot as we enter 7 minutes of added time, but he somehow crowbarred it wide.
That was a great chance. I mean, Cotter's done ever so well there. He got a bit lucky on a ricochet that went back into his path, but he pulled a great ball back into Phillips, and all he's got to do is side foot it, and I think he's trying to take it off the laces, and in doing so he's completely lost the direction of the ball and he's pushed it wide, and he was in a great position there.
Well, he scores and scores and scores, Adam Phillips. Then he has elongated dry spells. He could have done with that goal. Fabio Giallo gets the man of the match, and even if he hadn't scored, I think I can see that from a Barnsley perspective.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it's either between Fabio and the goalkeeper. Yeah. I think from Horsham. Yeah. I think he's been very, very busy all afternoon and he's done very well.
7 minutes then, but that will carry on for a little bit longer as one of the Horsham players has needed a moment or two to get back to his feet. It's the number 2, Bobby Price. He's all right now, will amble quite gingerly towards the far side, stretching off those hamstrings. They've got through a ton of work that ordinarily they won't have to, the Horsham players, for all that some of the focus will be on Barnsley's lack of finishing power for the most part. It should be said that Horsham have worked 10 to the dozen. They won't, well, clearly they're not going to play players of the standard and fitness of Barnsley week in, week out.
They've done great, Andy.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to tip your hat to them. You know, they've come up here on a Friday night with no expectation really whatsoever, apart from, you know, their own supporters and the squad themselves. But nobody expected it, you know, to come up here and put a performance like this in, and to get 3 goals as well. They'll be absolutely delighted, no matter what happens in these last few minutes.
De Gevigné, up towards halfway he goes. We've had a couple of minutes of the initial 7, but there'll be at least another minute more of that, of injury time at the end of the second half. De Gevigné, forward to Connell with the fluorescent yellow boots. Forward to the touchline it goes. Can they create an opportunity here? Connell gets it, looks to his right-hand side. McCart. It's more possession which goes across the centre of the pitch. Williams into Phillips, inside right channel of the box, gets a corner. He's tracked well there by John Brevio. And Cadden will come down to take the corner. It's starting to get to desperation stations for the Reds unless they want to get a trip to the south in a week on Tuesday. Here it comes to Cadden. Cadden bends in the cross, heads will rise. The trouble is the smallest one of them was Callum Stiles, and he can't get there, and it goes out of play for a Reds throw-in. Football Heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. Williams, infield to Connell. Connell looks square. The pass to McCartan, now De Gevigné. De Gevigné wide to the near side again, and Williams. Williams into the feet of the busy Cotter. Cotter the substitute. Cuts in field. Needs an outlet. In the end it's there in Williams. Back to Cotter. Cotter drags his studs over the ball. Turns. Takes on his man. Takes on the goal scorer. The cross goes into the box. It's ricocheted off Richardson. Horsham just send it anywhere. The coaching staff from Horsham are just saying, look, everybody out. As Barnsley have 90 seconds of football where they haven't really done anything, Danny Wilson.
No, they've not done anything at all. As again said before, everything's in front of them, and the Horsham, you know, backline have done very, very well. They've been quite happy with that, you know, and the coaching staff of Horsham are telling the lads to get out. They haven't got the legs to get out. They're absolutely shattered. But what they're doing in there, they make it very, very difficult for Barnsley.
3-3 then is the current score. Horsham equalising at 3-3, having previously led 2-1 as Cadden bends in the cross. Cross takes a deflection. Quite a lot of looks at the match officials, 1 or 2 screaming handball, and the match officials are unmoved.
No, it's not handball. I think that's something that you know, if we give him a handball for that, we'd all go home. I think his hands are down by his side. He's just clipped him as he's gone through. So yeah, I think it's a bit of desperation really for the shouts for a penalty there.
So Carey drives it high down the middle of the pitch, flicked on, but Horsham are offside. In the end, Barnsley try and build from the back, but Williams, well, does ever so well to meet a very well hit pass from De Gevigné from going out of play. McCart to O'Connell, bringing in Dodgson. A couple of little quick passes, and Dodgson has it with time and space to send the ball over the ducking referee into the path. I said ducking, he was actually stooping. Cotter on the near side, takes on his marker, gets to the dead ball line, beats him, tries to knock it through his legs again, keeps his feet, Cotter, up to the edge of the penalty area. And Horsham with that amber wall again, clear the ball away to Cotter, off it comes then now to Williams, crossing opportunity, in he goes, and it's wide from Stiles. Goodness me, 6 yards out, right-footed effort. Callum Stiles' shot grazes the side netting.
Yeah, under great pressure, I have to say. The 2 defenders are closing down so quickly, and I think they made him rush his effort, really. He tried to get his right foot around the ball, didn't really have the space to do it, and could only toe poke into the side netting. I thought it was very good defending.
So it remains 3-3 with a minute of the initial allotted injury time to go. Like I say, an injury to a Horsham player will mean that there was maybe another minute or so extra. But Barnsley then, unless they want to go down to Horsham a week on Tuesday, or there or thereabouts, are in the last chance saloon. 1 or 2 Horsham fans are starting to get the whistle on. They want full time as Connell brings it forward from the centre circle. gets the outlet down the far side, and it's Nicky Cadden. He's immediately closed down. Cadden takes on his marker, gets a nudge off the defender. It's pushed behind by Reece Miles-Meekums for a corner to Barnsley. This is it. Otherwise, the Reds are Horsham bound.
Yeah, I think it's last chance saloon. This one, last corner. We've got to make it count. Otherwise, it's a long, long journey down there.
Barry Cotter goes over to the far side to take it. The bigger players such as Dodson congregate in the penalty area. In it comes, and the glancing header goes off a Horsham, off a Barnsley head. Couldn't quite make out who it was. It's going to be a goal kick.
I think it was Phillips again. I think Phillips got in there, got in front of the defenders, didn't really get a clean head at it, and he's glanced it across the back post. So good chance again, but you know, they've got away with it again, Horsham.
Well, Neil Collins looks stony-faced on the edge of his technical area. This may well be that. The Horsham fans in the stands are bouncing 10 to the dozen as their goalkeeper Lewis Carey lifts the ball high to the east stand side here at Oakwell. All eyes now on the referee. He's checked his watch. The whistle's gone in the mouth. Barnsley have it at the back. There is seconds left here at Oakwell. Cotter receives the ball near side, drags his studs in field, turns away from the attentions of one marker, driving towards the corner flag, gets in one desperate cross. It's cannoned off the hand of Richards a little unwittingly, and it's scuffed away. Another second check of the watch from referee Ben Toner. Barnsley build again from halfway. McCart, east stand side, hoping and praying. Connell into the penalty area. Cole with the jump, might come for Styles. Styles tees it up back to goal, gets the shot away on the turn. In the end, it's a bobbler, and flopping onto it, Lewis Carey makes the stop. Well, Carey keeps the ball firmly in his possession, under his arm as he bounces it, as he goes to the edge of the penalty area. Up the pitch it goes. The referee blows for full time. Boos from some of the Barnsley supporters as the Horsham fans in the stand to our left go absolutely nuts. Horsham 98 places beneath Barnsley in the league ladder, hit back late to force a 3-3 draw, and with that a replay in their own backyard. Barnsley had trailed 2-1, they'd led 3-2, and then Richards with a tap-in will send the away side all the way back to Sussex, deliriously happy, but question marks, Danny Wilson, for Barnsley.
Well, you know, if you'd have told me that before the game this is going to be 3-3, I thought you're going mad, Andy. It was an incredible game, and one you've got to tip your hat to Horsham in the way they've come in and applied themselves, particularly after going a goal down, then taking the game around again and taking it in their favour to 2-1. And then coming back at 3-2 down. You know, you've got to give them all the credit that they deserve. You know, they've come all the way up here and they put a performance in. From Barnsley's point of view, you know, this is the last thing they wanted. They don't want to go all the way down to Horsham, but unfortunately that's not what they're going to do. The last thing that Neil would have wanted and his team would have wanted. But they deserved it. They deserved the replay, and they deserve a shot at Barnes down there again now.
Barnsley have overplayed it, haven't they, tonight, really? And in the end, Horsham were wise to that and just thought, well, we're not going to give you a way through.
No, it's true. I mean, listen, the majority of chances fell to Barnsley, if you're quite honest. And a lot of the play that they did get, you know, end products on, the goalkeeper was there to save for Horsham. But really, it wasn't convincing. You know, the all-round play that they did have resulted in very, very little going into the strikers or into the players who could finish off one-on-ones with the keeper. You know, the chances that they had were from long distance, or they were from corners, etc., or things that were bouncing around in the box. There was nothing really clear cut. Whereas the other side, you know, Horsham had 2 or 3 occasions where they were one-on-one with goalkeepers or with last defenders, and Barnsley never really had that. And I think that's because the Horsham defenders didn't want to come out, but they never enticed them to come out. You know, they never got enough possession of the ball. You know, from midfield to hurt them, to put the ball in behind them, for strikers running in there. They never really had that luxury at Barnsley, and they were more than happy with how the game was going at Horsham.
Well, the scenes to our left-hand side are one of celebration. Those in the yellow jackets, the bright yellow pants and the green tops, the Lardy Army are, well, they're taking it all in, as you would completely if the boot was on the other foot. They and their supporters and their players have been utterly outstanding tonight, and they've got a just reward. Barnsley and Horsham of the Isthmian League Premier League will have to do it all again. Full time then at Oakwell. Barnsley 3, Horsham 3.
Ellie Colton at breakfast.
BBC Radio Sheffield.
Matthew's got in touch. My little French bulldog sleeps in bed with me. I kicked the wife out of the bed. The dog don't complain about my snoring.
I'm single. I have the house to myself a lot, and you know, and it's just very comforting having her lying on the bed.
My dog is so needy that she's with me all the time.
My dog, she will just do whatever you ask her to.
Yeah,
so,
if somebody was robbing the house, she'd be like, "Let me help you."
No, let me hide behind you.
Ellie Colton at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6.
BBC Radio Sheffield.
So it is football heaven. It is BBC Radio Sheffield. We will head off and get reaction to this match. Barnsley 3, Horsham 3, guiding you through to full time. Here's Ben Ruth.
Thank you, Andy. That was Andy and Danny Wilson there watching Barnsley drawing 3-3 with 7th tier side Horsham. A replay, like Andy said, will be a week on Tuesday. What a result that is for Horsham. Wow. We are now going to chat about some more FA Cup action for our sides in our region. 7th tier side Worksop Town have a bumper away tie against League 2 leaders Stockport County in the FA Cup first round proper tomorrow. Manager Craig Parry joined us on last night's Football Heaven and told us how preparations were going for the trip to Edgeley Park.
Full of excitement. We're in training now, preparing and getting the lads ready and getting everything in order, and obviously to what will be a fantastic day.
Have you managed to keep, I know everybody says always on the next game and the eyes on the next game, have you managed to keep focus on the next game, or has this been one that's just been in the back of the mind and you've been really looking forward to?
Yeah, I think it's always in the back of the mind. I think from everyone, it is a difficult job to keep, especially the players, because we've still got league games to play to try and keep everyone focused. But now it's here. Now it's upon us in 48 hours. It's exciting, and we can fully focus now on this game.
I mean, what's been the talk amongst the players and the fan base since the draw was made? Because it's one of those dream ties, isn't it, that everyone at the club would have really wanted?
Yeah, it's a fantastic draw. Obviously, Stockport are flying high in League 2, top of the league, and obviously when the draw came out, it's a good draw because you want to test yourself against higher opposition, and you know there's no tougher opposition at the minute in time in Stockport from where they are in that league. So, you know, the talk's just been, you know, excitement of going there. We're a good crowd, you know. We're going to take a hell of a lot of fans with us and enjoy the day.
How many are you taking, do you know, roughly?
I think up to now there's between 1,500 to 1,800 seats being sold and still selling at the moment, so it's a really good following.
That's remarkable. I think that's more than really good, Craig, and I think that probably backs up just the ride that you've been on as a club for this past couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a great journey, especially over the last 2 seasons. You know, there's so much credit that needs to be given out from the chairman, the committee, everyone in the club to give us the foundation for us as a management team and the players to enjoy this moment. And you know, and it's one that it's important that as a club that we enjoy it all together.
Because you couldn't really go in on much better terms in the Northern Premier League Premier Division. Currently sat in 4th. Excellent. I think you're unbeaten at home, aren't you? You know, a 1-1 draw with Guiseley last time out. You're going in really good fettle.
Yeah, we're in good form. We, from a league perspective, we're doing well. We've probably a little bit above us expectations at the minute in time, but you know, we're doing extremely well. The lads are playing well. There's a good atmosphere. There's a good vibe, and we couldn't be in a better position ourselves mentally and physically to go there and try and get a dream result.
Does this just show what a bit of confidence, bit of success does over the past year? Have you and your players really just bounced into it with a bit of fearlessness, and that's set you in well?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I'd just like to say that for us to do that, the foundations have got to be in place at any football club, to be able to do that and for us to perform. And at the minute, let's make it continue and try keep going in the right direction.
How far can this club go? I mean, let's be honest, the focus this weekend is the FA Cup, but are you not putting a ceiling on it? It'd be great to keep making your way up the pyramid, wouldn't it?
Yes, definitely, yeah. Our ambition is to keep moving up the pyramid and try as best to keep, being competitive in every league and try to get out the leagues. We're all ambitious. We're inside this club and, it's not just the league, it's like the FA Cup. We're here now at the first round and why not? Why not go there positive Saturday and think, why can we not get into the second round? So we're all in a positive mood and want to keep moving forward as a club as a whole.
And what would it mean if you? I mean, it'd be great if you won, of course, but even if you draw, get a replay. I mean, that would be some event as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think either would be amazing. But we've got to go there first and be competitive and be full of hope. And that's what we are. We're full of hope that we can go there and cause an upset. So let's see what Saturday brings.
Have preparations been good this week? Have you had any spanners thrown into the works? I know things can be a little bit more tricky and demanding in non-league than it is in the professional realms.
Yeah, we got through Tuesday without no scares. So and we've had some good news on a couple of players that have been injured that are fit now for Saturday. So it's been a positive week on the fitness front, and we're hopeful we can have a full selection of squad available for Saturday.
If you win, would this be your kind of biggest moment to date in football?
Oh yes, without a doubt. Yeah, I think even winning the league last year and even getting to the first round is probably the biggest so far for me in my early management career. But if we can get through to the second round, yeah, it topped the lot.
Yeah, from a personal perspective, it's going all right, isn't it, Craig, at Worksop?
Yeah, everything so far so good. So. I'm really pleased with how things are going. But like I said, we're a team here. Everyone's doing it together, and we all strive in the same direction.
Worksop Town Manager Craig Parry there, speaking to Adam on Football Heaven the other night ahead of his side's clash against League 2 frontrunner Stockport County tomorrow. Let's hope they provide us with another FA Cup giant killing. But that's as far as we go tonight. Before we leave you, I'll read out some of the full-time and latest scores across the country. It finished Sheffield United, lowest ranked team in the FA Cup. Sheffield United 1, Walsall 4. Sheffield United did go a goal up in that clash, and the latest at the King Power Stadium is Leicester City 0, Leeds United 1. But like I said, that's as far as we go. We're back from 2 p.m. tomorrow. We start with Bristol City. Sheffield Wednesday are on the road against Bristol City with Rob and John Pearson. We've got updates from Bramwell Lane, Sheffield United against Wolves, Rotherham versus QPR, a huge fixture there for Matt Taylor's men, and some more FA Cup action with Doncaster versus Accrington Stanley. All reaction will be online from tonight's clash. 3-3 Barnsley were held against Horsham. What a result that is for Horsham. And then of course from again tomorrow we've got Praise or Grumble back from 5 o'clock to take your calls from all tonight's and tomorrow's reaction. But to leave you before the late show with a little bit of music is Take That.